choice.
Jess is thankfully much better than the dump I had to crash back in the Bronx. It's clean, spacious, and sunproof, so at least I won't fry to a crisp when daydreaming. Not exactly my cozy RV, but hey, in a couple of nights I could get used to it. If it weren't for the damn near certainty that I'll turn into a pile of ash come sunset, that is. Lying in this queen-sized bed, hands laced behind my head, waiting for sleep to hit, my mind can't help but spiral around the shitstorm of the past few nights. Turns out there's more I don't know about Reynard than I do know about Padraic, and I've been Reynard's child for almost 2 freaking years. My embrace. Yeah, that's not a trip down memory lane I enjoy. Not just because it felt like getting ripped apart, but because it kept me off guard. I wasn't one of those poor sods whose entire existence revolved around becoming kindred, who slaved away as ghouls for decades, if not centuries, just for a chance at that one final kiss. To be honest, I had no desire or purpose back then. Just drifting through life, much like these nights, following impulses. Hit up that city. No, scratch that. Head to the other one. Swipe from that dude here. Scam that lady over there. Put on a show. Disappear. Live. I caught Reynard's eye at a music festival. I was really raking it with sleights of hand, hustling the clueless out of their money. Rich kids were everywhere, dropping with cash and confidence, making my job a damn breeze. And just one day, I made enough to cover my tickets 3 times over. It lasted until Reynard came along and decided to take me down a notch, exposing all my tricks, swindling me out of my hard-earned money, humiliating me in front of my cash cows. And then had the nerve to promise me some bright, shiny future with his gang. I told him to go to hell, obviously. I've had it with assholes and had zero interest in joining a gang. Cruising alone across the country suited me just fine. Sorry, or so I thought. Been years since I convinced myself that solitude meant freedom. But soon enough, whether I liked it or not, I learned a whole new meaning of freedom. One that went way beyond just being lonely. Because that very same night, Reynard spotted me in the crowd and decided to embrace me right under everyone's noses. No one even batted a freaking eye as he hauled my dying ass out of that festival. Man, I'm in a rotten mood today, and I gotta remind myself it's not all that bad. Those last 2 years with Reynard's coterie were better than a big chunk of my life. Turns out, being part of a tight-knit group, a found family, he calls it, can be pretty darn sweet. Not so much when the leader turns out to be a lying, dodging snake, though. That's a recent bombshell. With that merchandise not reaching the buyer, the sudden antediluvian obsession, and being at the very top of the circulatory system hit list. God damn it, Reynard Castle. What the hell did you get yourself into?
Hello, night boss.
He clearly detests...
Wait,
is this Julia?
Yeah, this is Julia.
Yeah.
Okay. Clearly detest it when I call him that, but I keep tossing it his way every now and then. Who knows, maybe it'll rekindle some of that old buddy vibe we lost along the way. Not that I'm dying for it, it's just he turns into a total sore-fest once he flips on that professional switch.
How many this time?
Another 2. Duskborn and one of Aisline's fledglings. The way they were found, their last moments were far from pleasant, to say the least.
This is absurd. We sequestered here like a bunch of idiots, struggling to find common ground, pretending we have this mess handled. We can't let this continue, you know that. We have to crush this mob, snap their pitchforks, and smother the forges before everything spirals out of control.
I mean, you're the sheriff. In my book, that's your job to call. You've got plenty of backup in there. Honestly, I don't know what's holding you back.
That's the fundamental difference between us. Like you, I still hold a modicum of respect for the rules, even when they bind my hands to choices of fools.
Language. There's that fiery glare again. I need to work on my timing. He needs to sort out his anger.
Valerie. Joeanne, you there?
You just gonna stand there or stop staring at me like that?
Do you mind if I introduce this delightful conversation?
Jesus, I hate when she pulls that Cheshire cat shit. Coming out of nowhere.
What is it, Valerie?
We might have identified the mastermind behind your locust swarm, as you so aptly put it.
Your glimpse at the files she hands Kadir has me reeling. Him. Seriously.
Positive.
Then, piecing things together, it makes perfect sense. Locust would only rally under a supremely charismatic asshole. There's no asshole quite as magnetic. Aaron Fletcher.
Four nights till New Year. Only 6 days behind. Right. The concept of sleep completely changes when you become one of us. You don't really get gently lulled by the warmth of Morpheus's embrace. More like tossed into dark, depthless waters where the cold suffocates you until you can't feel anything. Waking up doesn't exactly leave you rested, but it's not quite exhaustion either. It's more like a narrow escape from some fathomless and terrible threat. Which doesn't at all explain why I feel so fucking exhausted as I make my way to Podriak's, tuning out the lively chaos of New York streets on a chilly December night. Even the city's festive lights, scattered among the gray urban landscape, can't lift my spirits, and neither can the delicate glimmer of the snow. Do vampires ever suffer from seasonal depression? Because it sure as hell feels like it as I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Podriak manages to blend in seamlessly with the scenery, yet I spot him from a block away, near his haven. Uncharacteristically, both his hands are buried in his pockets instead of fumbling with that lifeline ring of his. His head is bowed, eyes aimlessly fixed on the pavement as usual. Hey, what's a kindred like you doing in a place like this? Oh no, auto advance got clicked. Thank you.
Oh, this old place.
His expression...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, okay. His expression softens to a wry smile.
Oh, this old place. It's just where I hang out. It's actually waiting for you.
I jokingly fan myself with my hand. Phew, it's getting hot in here. How about we switch gears and head straight to Hope?
Let's do just that. Hope is rather busy these nights, so the sooner we approach her, the better.
He swings open the passenger door with a flourish.
Get in. Please.
A genuine chuckle escapes me. Playing the gallant tonight, huh? I slide into the seat as he rolls his eyes, and within moments we're speeding off, catching a glimpse of hope for better days. Padraic is a careful and focused driver. His gaze is locked on the road ahead, hands glued to the wheel, body stiff as a board. Maybe there's something to his crazy. Maybe there's something crazy to his Maybe there's something to his crazy Malkavian nature, or those voices in his head that help him anticipate all troubles on the road. Because in spite of the notoriously bad traffic, he drives smoothly and surely. No jerky movements, no surprises. I like that. It makes me feel like I'm all by myself. I can relax, calm down the instincts that always steer me towards trouble. Today, I don't even bother him about his music taste. I just soak in the quiet hum of the engine and the muted bustle of New York on a snowy December night. It's Padraic who breaks the silence first.
About this meeting with Hope. It's of a rather clandestine nature.
Oh yeah?
Yes, I have managed to establish that someone at Double Spiral will hand us further instructions.
Further instructions? What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Honestly, I'm just as unmoored as you are. Planning out Hope's thoughts or predicting her next moves is always a shot in the dark.
All I can muster is a confused grunt, but inside my thoughts are racing a mile a minute. Not gonna lie, it's draining. 4 nights on Reynard's trail and it feels like I'm running in circles. The clue so far? Big fat 0 from the Anarchs, a few scraps from Jess, dead-end chats with D'Angelo, and a nightmarish talk with Sansarik. All amounting to squat. All I can think of when I stare through the spotless window is that the circulatory system might be our only actual last hope. You know, 'cause... never mind. The local security chief. Nastya, was it? Decked out in what can only be described as K-pop cosplay, leads us through a long, dark room lined with massive servers, covered in colorful blinking lights that vanish into the distance. In the oppressive silence, I can easily identify the soft purring of the servers, whose fans spin relentlessly to churn out the data out. The room's monotony is broken by the sharp clicking of a keyboard. At the far end of the space, a figure hunches over a desk, decked in a faded maroon hoodie, with oversized noise-canceling headphones clamped over their ears. A barrage of arcane data races across the several screens before them, yet they remain eerily still, save for the rhythmic tap of their fingers. Nastya snaps her fingers to get my attention. Apparently Hope's extremely busy these days, but she'll spare us 5 minutes in the cloud. She gestures towards a sleek, state-of-the-art VR headset resting on a nearby table. Padraic shoots me a puzzled look and I stifle a laugh. He moves to pick up the VR headset, but Nastya bats his hand away sternly and points at me. Then she exits the room with echoing bootsteps. Padraic and I exchange glances and he gestures theatrically to the VR set.
Settle in, then.
Cool. Just, make sure I don't get digitally abducted or something, okay? His smirk flickers briefly. I slip on the headset and the world around me plunges into darkness. The digital dreamscape unfolds before me in a swirl of pastel hues, slicing through an egregiously retro grid. I'm on the verge of scoffing at the tacky choice of visuals when suddenly the scene shifts into a deep, dark void, lit only by a distant spiraling glow. I don't know where it comes from, but an eerie sense of familiarity sends shivers down my virtual spine. Out of nowhere, the voice pierces the silence.
Caligula, what brings you here to steal my precious time?
I scan the void in search of her avatar, but she's nowhere to be seen. You can't steal what's willingly offered. A soft chuckle echoes from behind me. I spin around, finding no one, just as a fleeting caress down my back, as if I'm merely a screen for her display. Frustrated, I turn again, and finally her avatar materializes, serenely hovering just inches from me. Her appearance is laid back and yet ethereal, otherworldly, insane. It could just be my imagination playing tricks on me, but then again, I am...
Oh, I know exactly who you are. I know everything about you. Caligula, Cali, California? Really?
Is it possible for Kendra to feel dizzy? I swear to God, it feels like my vitae's draining right out of my skull. The name's Cali in this unlife. California is dead.
But you were Cali long before that, weren't you? Just a frightened little hippie's daughter, cavorting through the dark web, hidden behind a name that made you feel cool. Caligula. Var personified. Conflict on legs. Do you think you've lived up to that ominous alias, California? Have you caused enough ruin, wreaking havoc with just a careless click? It must have felt good having all this power over living beings and inanimate objects, deciding their fate with cold, calculated keystrokes. I know all your dirty little secrets, even those you left back at that music festival where California perished and Kali emerged from the flames of a dying phoenix. Even those trailing behind you like sins in your endless repentance.
It feels like I'm back in the forums, dealing with hordes of idiots who hide behind anonymous profiles and spout bullshit. Fuck that. I'm not going through that hell again. Doxing much, I see. What about your precious time, huh? How about you cut the crap and drop some actual wisdom? Just spit out where Reynard is, and I'll disappear. What's up? My break? A dire packet loss? Oracle my ass. My nerves are shot, and I'm on edge. The last thing I expect is a gentle tap on my shoulder. I flinch and spin around, half expecting to see her digital figure, but all I see is the infinite dark.
You can take off the headset now, Kali.
The real, tangible version of Hope I see before me has her eyes glued to the phone in her hand and a bored expression on her face. There's a faded maroon hoodie over her shoulder, and a quick look at the now deserted desk confirms it. Really? Going all jigsaw on me like that? Seriously, I'm pissed. She doesn't even glance at me.
I'm clued in on stuff like life, death, and scrambled eggs, but my knowledge on Red Ray Castle? Not so current since he flipped his shit. No clue where he's at or what he's up to.
Yeah, tell me about it. Look, I'm just trying to figure out why he's at the top of the circulatory system's hit list. I mean, he's crazy, sure, but this is some serious shit.
Oh, it's bigger than you think. But your little trip down their rabbit hole might just work out for us both, as long as you snag some juicy intel from their database.
Without looking up, she flicks her wrist and throws a small dongle at me.
Make your way to the circulatory system's core. Plug this sucker in. It'll slurp up the data without a peep. Basically untraceable, even to me. Which is bonkers now that I think about it.
Precious time, remember?
Get it back to me and I'll dive into the goods. And, hey, if there's anything juicy on Red Ray, I'll throw you a big meaty bone.
You mean you'll let me in on the Reynard files?
Potato, tomato.
So this dongle snags the data. What's the plan for getting in?
You're on your own there, sweetheart. B&Es are so not my jam.
Still glued to her phone, she turns on her heel and nods.
Padraig.
Hope. A pleasure as always.
She strides out the server room. I start to seethe. The moment she vanishes behind the door, I arch my back and hiss at Padraig like a cat in full battle mode. You knew it! It was her this whole time and you fucking knew it! Just shrugs, completely unfazed by my meltdown.
She likes her mind games. Do as Romans do, you know? Besides, we got what he came for, didn't we?
Sure, but what about my dignity?
What about it?
Oh, piss off! I swat at him playfully as we leave the server room, ready for the next step of our caper. My mood shifts dramatically as soon as we buckle up in Padraig's car and take off towards our goal. I feel almost numb, the way my brain buzzes with uncoordinated thoughts like a giant, incomprehensible beehive. Out of the corner of my eye, I catch Padraig throwing concerned glances my way before he decides to break the silence.
Is everything okay?
Yeah. It's just that I might not know Reynard as well as I thought I did. The circulatory system, the antediluvians, some enigmatic, powerful backer. I'm not even sure who he is anymore. It's not like I can just ask him right now. Padraig absorbs my words, mulling over the thought in a heavy silence.
I get it. It's really unsettling to realize you don't truly know someone you thought you were close to. Just the ticking clock isn't making things any easier, huh?
It fucking doesn't, but cheers for the reminder.
My apologies. Wasn't trying to add to your stress.
Yeah, I get it. But hey, I playfully smack his shoulder, forcing a smile through the strain. At least you won't be stuck with me much longer, right? His attention snaps from the road to me, his look one of unexpected irritation.
You know, I take no joy at the thought of hurling you before the Primogenic Consul to prepare to capture Castle.
I swiftly turn my head away and look out the window. Well, I do now. Here's hoping our tech whiz proxy lives up to her reputation and we get in and out of the circulatory system pronto, chock full of data in hand. Padraig and I spend a solid 5 minutes just gazing up at the building we're supposed to infiltrate, our necks craned, completely silent. Color me psyched, I guess. That's one massive fucking building if I've ever seen one.
Indeed, it might complicate our plan, as big as that is.
Probably packed with high-tech security and the usual batch of guards lurking around every corner.
Yet there are also plenty of empty spots we could use to lay low.
Look at you, picking up the tricks of the trade.
Let's not just sit around. Time is running out.
The interior of the circulatory system branch is artfully incognito, masquerading as a budget-friendly medical clinic. It's the perfect cover, under the radar, ignored by the upper classes and the authority, and with a constant, justifiable stream of visitors at all hours, even the ungodly ones. Like right now, for instance. And here I am, ready to dive into the fray.
How do you propose...
Maybe you could stir up a little chaos, distract them for me?
That could work. Shall we?
I give him a nod, and before my eyes, Padraig transforms into something wholly different. He morphs into a figure of pure outrage and despair, shoulders hunched, heads down, jaw clenched. He's the image of a man fueled by fury, ready to explode. He marches over to the reception desk while I fold myself into a shadow and become practically invisible. Before the bewildered receptionist can get a word out, Padraig leans in menacingly and begins his tirade, his voice booming with a rough Midwestern twang.
I need to see the manager now. My mama died in this goddamn place because of your negligence. Head on over to Firestone blasting your incompetence across every news platform there is.
Wow, look at you go, Karen. I clenched my teeth hard to hold back my laughter, and with all eyes in the foyer glued to Padraic, I slip away from the storm and glide through the back door, unseen. After a solid 15 minutes of dodging every footstep I hear and slinking from shadow to shadow through the circulatory system's underground maze, I finally reach a particular glass door. There's a large laboratory on the other side, in which I spy incomprehensible glass gadgets, several rows of coolers with blood, and a PC connected to the local intranet. Perfect. A quick scan confirms I'm alone, at least for the moment. The door is secured with a numeric keypad and a card reader. Clearly, they think their staff have sieves for brains and need 2 ways to get in. Works for me, though. Now, I could try figuring out the code from the worn-out keys, but who's got time for that? I pull out my trusty universal access card, wait for the satisfying beep, and glide through the door. Just as I step inside, I feel something small scuttle beneath my boots. I glance down. A mouse? Really? Is this the level of cleanliness we're dealing with here? This little bloodthirsty critter probably chews on blood bags for fun. As a little pest dashes off, I approach the PC. It's password protected, of course. Hacking isn't exactly my forte, but I'm good at predicting mortal laziness. The password was on the post-it stuck to the notebook on the desk. Copying the database is child's play with Hope's dongle. I plug it in and it does all the work for me. All I have to do is glance up from time to time to keep watch. Everything is transferred in less than a minute. And it still took too long. I'm already packed up and approaching the door when I hear the clacking of high heels on the tiled floor, paired with the muffled murmurs of someone in a bad mood. I dash towards the door and grab the handle when a short, dark-haired woman in a lab coat rounds the corner. Fuck. I release the door handle and press my back against the wall, subconsciously ignored by any observer as long as I keep perfectly still. The lab worker enters the code and steps into the lab, muttering under her breath as she moves around collecting various utensils. I resist the urge to get a better look at what she's carrying.
Cristina, go for it.
Nima, be kind. Nima, work hard, Nima. Ugh. How am I supposed to endure another, 50 years of this nonsense? Still me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just behave and wait, they said. Be thankful for our generosity, they said. Serve us well, they said. But no one warned me I'd be a lackey for nearly a century.
She sighs and massages her feet. She sighs and massages her face tiredly.
It's all good. It's all good. I'll get what I want eventually. Just keep at it, Nima.
And with that, she exits, her heels clacking sharply down the hallway. I might actually feel bad for her if she wasn't a direct threat to me right now. Well, never mind. Can't waste my window of opportunity. As soon as she disappears from view, I spring into action, darting through the door and racing across the tiled floor through the foyer. I'm almost there. Almost there. But then, bam! I slam right into a security guard making his round. Like, seriously, could I be any more clumsy? I managed to slow down just in time, but dang, it's a close call. He's knocked to the ground, but he gets his bearings immediately and jumps to his feet. His hand goes for the taser at his hip, and his mouth opens to order me around, but no sound comes out of it. That's because I give him a swift roundhouse kick to the head and floor ham. I briefly considered dragging him somewhere far less conspicuous, but nah, ain't got no time for that. I'm already busted. So I haul ass to the foyer, praying Padraig's done playing Karen and is ready to scram, like yesterday. When I slip back into the foyer, Padraig's still going off on the poor receptionist, now joined by 2 other red-faced employees, desperately trying to calm down the entitled jerk. I catch his eye for a fraction of a second and nod curtly before zipping towards the exit.
And... you know what? You can take that fancy talk and shove it where the sun doesn't shine. Fuck you, and see you in court!
He storms off, actually beating me in our little race out the door. Once we're clear of that boring beige foyer, we bolt to the car and hop in within seconds. It's unclear if they notice someone making off with their precious data, but the circulatory system doesn't immediately come after us, at least. Padraig's clearly geared up for a pursuit. The way he's maneuvering around the streets, pedal to the metal, eyes flickering around like a paranoid squirrel on the lookout for a tail. You know, I think I saw someone following us. Maybe pick up the pace a little bit, just in case. He gives me this wary look, revving the engine a tad before catching onto my little game. He eases off the accelerator, blending into traffic as we head towards Manhattan.
I guess in your part of the car, but the caper went smooth.
Smooth as silk. Ran into a lab rat and rent a cop downstairs, but nothing I couldn't handle.
For an adventurous night, I see.
I toss my head back and laugh, catching his genuine smile out of the corner of my eye. You could say that. And you? Enjoyed going berserk on those corporate drones? He shrugs, all casual-like.
I have a little sympathy for venture ghouls, as far as I'm concerned. Signed up for this job and all its perks.
Ice cold, man. Impressive, too. Stick around me a little bit longer and I'll make a con artist of you just yet.
Used to say I'm not one already.
I can't help but burst into laughter again, straight from the depths of my shriveled heart, completely genuine. Let's pray Hope can unravel the data we scrapped with that USB thingy of hers, and then I'm not going to be forced to pay for that with my dignity once more. This time, as we enter the server room in the basement of Double Spiral, escorted again once by Nastya, Hope is there. No games in the flesh to meet us. She doesn't even spare us a glance, though, her eyes still glued to her phone as she impatiently extends her hand, gesturing for me to hurry up. I give her a low 5 fist. I give her a low 5 first, but when she shoots me a displeased look, I obediently hand over the dongle. She plugs it into a laptop and suddenly all the nearby screens spring to life, displaying a whole wall of text, photos, and links to videos and voice recordings. Hope starts blitzing through the data silently, scanning multiple pages at once. Too fast for me to keep up. I glance at Padraig, wondering if it's all a Malkavian thing, if maybe he can read it all, but his confused expression tells me it's just a Hope thing. She finishes in mere minutes, then stretches in her chair before promptly returning to her phone.
Thanks. There's a gold mine of info in that database.
Yeah, totally. And about Reynard? The moment her hands freeze in midair chills me to the bone. Luckily, her thumbs start dancing on the phone again soon after.
The mess he got himself wrapped up in? Well, it's way deeper than I thought.
She points offhandedly at one of the screens, a scan of the report from the FBI's Special Affairs Division. The file, apparently intercepted by an unnamed circulatory system associate, chock full of Reynard. It's chock full of Reynard. Photos, videos, you name it.
This sin list over here is up to his neck in shit. Peddling rare blood, mortal trafficking. Well, that's a given. Corroborating with the SAD? Yeah, sure. Diablerie.
Hope's voice drops, her brows knitting together in a deep frown. That's bullshit.
Of course it is.
Despite the storm brewing in her data, her demeanor remains eerily serene. Wish I could say the same for myself. I can feel Padraig's gaze on me, but I refuse to meet it in fear that he might actually read something from my eyes. I'm no saint, okay? Most of that stuff kind of rings a bell. A few weeks ago, I was the one pulling the strings behind the merchandise transfers through my dark web channels. Not that I always knew what was being shuffled around. I'm not sure how much I would have cared even if I knew. I've dabbled in some truly nasty shit, both after and before my embrace.
Okay, so that hot mess is what literally catapulted your sire to the top of the circulatory systems list.
Is there anything else worth mentioning?
Yep. Arms trade.
The fuck? That's actually news to me. Also, again, it's not like it's unheard of. Kindred dipping their toes and selling guns.
And? Is that an issue?
Nope. At least until you take a peek at whom he's trading with. But I mean, there's no way he could pull off like a weapons deal with high-profile mortal. He's just too small for that, I think.
I decide to take the bait. And who might this mortal be? Hope gags a little, her nose still stuck to her phone. She flicks her wrist and the report scrolls down a couple pages.
Didn't say. And the rest of the note is all redacted. It must be someone major. Seriously, I'm dying to know who it is. Oh, and speaking of big names, this bit says Red Ray's been involved with that Hudson vampire Vritra. By the way, she's also way up there on the circulatory systems hit list. Could be a random thing, or maybe not. But they barely have any deets on her. Figures, she is very sneaky.
Bate freezes in my veins. I exchange bleak glances with Padraig, remember Sansarik's words. About Reynard getting even more cockier and his new, powerful patron, the self-appointed queen of the Hudson River. Maybe it's a good idea to wheedle some more information about her out of Hope. Yeah, Veritra's a tough cookie to crumble. Padraig shoots me a warning look, which, frankly, I don't understand. Intel is power, my guy.
Oh, did Red Ray spill the tea about her? Tell me everything. I'm super curious.
I don't need any tea to hear the talk around the city. Everyone and their sire's shitting their pants over her.
True. And they're right. No one's really got anything solid on her. Not even me. Just that she's definitely mixed up in some nasty shit. So, word is she might be linked with the Black Hand. But honestly, if there was any proof, I'd totally have found it by now.
Padraig visibly twitches and gets busy spinning his ring. The Black Hand? You mean the Sabbat? Aren't they extinct on the East Coast?
They were driven out of New York City 2 decades ago. Doesn't mean they're extinct.
How do you always know just too much, Patty? Seriously, my offer's still on the table. I could really use someone with your knack for sniffing things out.
Thank you, but I must decline.
Shame. But, as I said, I don't think she's with the Sabbat. It just doesn't jibe with her modus operandi.
Care to elaborate on that? She sighs deeply, as if my questions are a real pain, but then starts talking almost immediately. Maybe she actually wants to talk but can't, because she got a reputation to uphold. Is she working her info broker magic as we speak? Homegirl's diligent, that's for sure.
Like, a year and a half ago, Veritra just popped up in New York City overnight, took over the whole Hudson River, and half of Staten Island as her domain, and then just ghosted everyone.
What do you mean? I thought she's been keeping the city in check the whole time.
Yes, she has, but honestly, she's been lying pretty low for a kindred. I mean, anyone who tries to talk to her ends up dead, and she totally shuts down any attempt at muscling in on her turf. I will say though, if Red Ray really is teamed up with her and still has his head, major props to him. The tower probably wants him just for managing to pull that off. But let's be real. Whatever drama they're stirring up, it's definitely not part of his plan.
I furrow my brows. It's an angle I haven't even thought about, and by the look of sheer panic flashing over Padraig's face, neither has he.
No one gets what Vricha's playing at. And that's why everyone's so antsy. Stability is key here in New York. And she's anything but that.
From what I've seen, that's pretty much the typical kindred push and pull in big cities. Seems to me like she's just at the other side of the same coin here, but with one non-negotiable rule. Padraig butts in, his voice firm and cold.
Yes. Don't fuck with Vitra.
Hope shrugs, but says nothing more, eyes firmly stuck on her phone. So a few bits on Reynard, next to nothing about Vitra. Seems like you didn't really find anything interesting in that file. Hope just laughs, completely blowing me off, while Padraig gives me an epic eye roll. I bet any other info dealer would have gotten to the good stuff. Then she actually looks me dead in the eye, eyebrows shooting up to her hairline, with this incredulous smirk spreading across her face.
Are you trying to get a rise out of me? That's adorable! Patty, tell her she's adorable.
I'm not your minion, Hope.
Fine, keep your stick up your ass. Just because you're super cute, I'll throw in another tidbit for you. This report's kinda making some guesses about Addison Payne.
Addison Payne? Wait, isn't that the old fart in a wheelchair from the Camarilla?
Sure is.
So what guesses are we talking about?
So, these bits aren't from the SAD report, they're straight from the circulatory system, based on whatever stuff they dug up in the file. There's some buzz about Addison Payne and where he really stands, especially since he supposedly bought spiked blood from your sire.
Payne. Buying from Cassell? Why would you do that? Avenger's position has no need to stoop so low.
They kind of thought the same at first. But then, like a month ago, some of the big shots started pushing to cut off his access to the circulatory system assets until they figure things out. Maybe they just used the opportunity for a powder grab. Maybe not.
What is that supposed to mean?
Hope shrugs, tucking her hair back behind her ears.
There's always been something iffy about Payne. Especially since you can never be sure if his lackey is a trustworthy proxy.
What's that supposed to mean? But Hope simply ignores me, fully absorbed in whatever she's doing on that phone of hers. I swear her eyes flick up towards us for no more than a split second.
That's everything I've got for you. The rest is just goodies for me. Trust.
Hope freezes, eyes bulging like she just saw a ghost. And then she starts cracking up, fingers flying over her phone even faster.
Good luck with your endeavors. You're going to need it. And much more than that.
Were we still mortal? After all the revelations of tonight, Padraig and I would probably hunker down in the dim corner of a bar, drinking our, well, mine mostly, sorrows away, and unraveling the tangled skein of our findings. Since we can't stomach alcohol, we just wander around in silence for a little while until we settle on a tiny little bench, hidden beneath a naked winter tree. Well, I like to say that because we talk. But it's more like a floodgate bursting within me, unleashing a tidal wave of pent-up frustrations. And Padraig just quietly lets me rant, slowly spinning his ring and nodding from time to time. The sheer number of times Reynard pops up in these SAD files is pretty fucking concerning. Not only because of the actual shit he's pulled, but also because he's been so damn sloppy about it. They have so much stuff on him. Stuff they could have just easily avoided if he just put a bit of thought into his actions and kept me in the loop, maybe. Like, it's no coincidence that there's nothing specific about me in that file, you know? I clean up after myself thoroughly, I think. Regular people wouldn't find shit, and Reynard left so much fucking trail behind him, I'm surprised he's not in some kindred Gunatamo by now. They could have bagged him without breaking a sweat. Padraig gives a skeptical hum, leaning forward and examining his ring.
And yet they haven't. Perhaps that speaks volumes about your sire's ability to dodge bullets, even deep in hostile trenches.
I snort inelegantly. Yeah, I guess. He's Ravnos after all. There's a few beats of silence before Padraig speaks up again.
Any idea why Renard might be dealing in arms with a mortal?
I sigh deeply, feeling the air expand my lungs more than humanly possible, and shake my head. Honestly, Padraig, I feel like I don't even know shit anymore. I mean, Reynard was never particularly precious toward mortals, so I thought maybe we'd end up wrangling some eventually, but now I just don't know. Plus, arms dealing? That's so... I don't know, it's not our style, you know? We're Ravnos, we're tricksters, con artists, not warlords. I can't recall dealing with a single mortal since my embrace almost 2 years ago. If Reynard was peddling something, I'd expect it to be fake shit, decoys or whatever, but guns? It just doesn't make any sense. Padraig gives that deliberate cough of his, a prelude to dropping some unsettling truth.
I hate to be the bearer of harsh truths, but I get the feeling that you never truly knew your sire.
A couple of nights ago, I would have flipped at that suggestion, but now... I collect a handful of gravel from the ground and toss it, bit by bit, into the puddle of melting snow. I don't know. Can anybody say they really know someone? Hell, do we even know ourselves? Padraig smiles at me.
Where are we if not the secrets we keep? Right?
I smile right back at him. Who came up with that nugget? I need to shake her hand or something.
You know, I think you shouldn't be blaming yourself for dishonesty. It's quite literally not your fault. Nobody can go through this ordeal expecting to be crossed at every given moment, especially by those you trust the most. That'd be a pretty miserable existence, don't you think?
I'm not equipped to unpack all that right now, sorry. Besides, I have no cash on me for that therapy session you're pushing for, Dr. Conroy. His smile is a little wry, but not hostile at all. You know, thinking about it, we've been hunting down my sire for 4 nights, and I realize I know jack shit about yours. Care to share a bit? In the spirit of this painfully awkward moment? He keeps quiet for a little while.
Frankly, I can't tell you much about them because I don't know myself.
What do you mean?
I still don't know you embraced me.
He clears his throat and hesitates, while I fight the urge to dig deeper.
It's a faint memory now, but I remember almost dying towards the end of World War II. Somewhere along the Western Front, I think. And then I remember crawling out of a pile of corpses the next night. That is all. I assume I was embraced by a fellow soldier, but there's really no way to confirm.
Dryac, I'm so sorry. I pat him awkwardly on the shoulder and he nods, looking not at me, but at his lucky ring.
I've come to terms with it, but I appreciate the sentiment.
We all sit in silence a bit longer. There aren't many people around, but the city still feels alive, bustling even at 3 in the morning in late December. The air between us is a little tense. Probably shouldn't have prodded about his sire, but, well, I'm me. I scramble for a new topic and remember we haven't finished discussing our latest scoop from the circulatory system's database. So, what I can't wrap my head around is why someone like Payne, a big shot Ventru, would go to such lengths to avoid buying blood through the company he partially owns. Is he trying to back out? Tank their stock on purpose or what? Or maybe he's plotting to start his own gang. Hard to see how, but with all the Ventru red tape, but maybe. Could he be setting up Reynard as his go-to supplier, or is that stretching it too much?
Indeed, that does seem like a stretch. It's an audacious and most disrespectful move. Nobody Payne's way of doing things, especially when he's trying to usurp Panhard.
But why else would he do that?
The file did say he was buying spiked blood from Reynard. It's hardly specific. Maybe that particular type wasn't available through the circulatory system.
I mean, all blood bags are spiked. That's the only way they stay edible. One of the reasons why the resident Duskborn alchemist had so much shit to do all the time in our gang. Pedrai comes thoughtfully, slowly spinning his ring.
Well, I am stumped. But hopefully we can find a way to use that information to your advantage when we face the console.
You mean exposing Payne as a fraud right in front of everyone? Damn, Conroy, that's some serious badassery for you.
It would be badassery if we had any evidence of these suspicions, which we, unfortunately, do not.
I deflate a little, clicking my tongue. Yeah, I guess that's an obstacle. And how does Vitra fit into all of this? The ever-elusive mistress of the Hudson River. Think we could dangle her as bait before the council? Pedriac stills and stiffens, spinning the dice ring as fast as his hands allowed. Fuck, I forgot he's so irrationally terrified of her. I'm grasping at straws, I know, but everyone's freaked out by her. I'm not saying Reynard usually shies away from tough cases, but there's so many easier targets to scam. It's all so fucked up, I don't get any of it.
I don't understand either.
He so doesn't want to talk about her. Fine. I'll let him off the hook this time. The weight of tonight's events is starting to crush me, and maintaining this upbeat mask is draining anyway. Thankfully, this time it's Pedriac who breaks the awkward silence.
To make marks the last night in the grace period Kadir gave you, while leaves had dried up, it's unlikely we would find anything else of use anyway. I think we have enough circumstantial proof to clear your name and eyes the consul. You could trade it in for your freedom.
You mean for a longer leash? They won't clear me unless I hand over Reynard, and we both know it. Sure, we have some solid clues, but they're just that. The way the Camarilla treated me, well, I'm not exactly optimistic about returning empty-handed. Best case scenario, they order me to stay in the city and give me another impossible task. Worst case scenario, Kadir takes my head clean off my shoulders. And I don't even know where that leaves you. Technically, you were just supposed to keep an eye on me, but I gesture vaguely and Pedriac's sighs, defeated.
Yeah.
He squints at the starless sky.
Still time to sunrise, but I doubt we'll find anyone at Elysium tonight.
He gives me a careful once-over, doubt and pity clear as as stars in his eyes.
Do you have a safe place to stay in today? Your welcome my haven when needed. The couch should still be there, I believe.
Crack a faint smile. Should still be here, huh? Good thing you didn't get into sales, because you wouldn't sell shit. I have some options, I guess. I've only used a couple of our safe houses around New York so far. I don't know. Could I catch up with you later or something? I need some time to think. On my own. He looks at me for a long while, tilting his head hesitantly while his spidery fingers slowly spin his dice ring. And then he just stops and nods curtly.
Take your time. I'll wait for you until dawn.
I chuckled disbelievingly, unable to keep just a little bit of bitterness creeping into my voice. What if I skip town or something, taking advantage of your misguided generosity?
I don't think you will. You haven't thus far, have you?
He stands, looking down at me intently.
I still believe we can turn this Titanic around before it crashes into the iceberg. We just need to get a hold of the steering wheel.
He gives my shoulder a reassuring pat and strides off into the night, leaving me to my ruminations. If I hit an astronomical level of bad luck, crashing at Padraig's once more will probably turn me into a sorry pile of ash he'll have to sweep up at sundown, like with a broom. But after all the crap we found out about Reynard, I honestly couldn't care less. I've been trying to get my shit together for the last hour, just walking the damn streets of New York. Spoiler alert, it's not working. I don't even know why I told Padraig to leave me alone. I usually keep people close to stop my brain from going to dark places. Turns out too much me time just lets the shitty feelings take over. And the simple act of putting one foot in front of the other doesn't soothe the anger, the hurt, and the betrayal. These emotions cling to me like leeches, refusing to let go. All that crap, the gestures, the pep talks, our gigs making me feel like we had a bond. Fucking lies. All of it, it just hurts. So yeah, I'm still a mess inside, my gritted teeth keeping the dry tears at bay. Right now, I'd seriously rather chew off my own tongue than give Reynard the satisfaction of hearing me sob. Fuck all that. Every part of me is screaming for some kind of release, some justice. I even have this crazy urge to just smash anything about me that reminds me of Reynard. But honestly, what would even be left of me? If that dickhead's already met his final death, I swear to God, if I could find his ashes, I'd spit on them. Shit, who am I kidding? I'm such a pathetic loser, I'd probably forgive him in a second if he came back. Even if he doesn't give a damn. Christ, this sucks so much. But it doesn't matter. The dawn's coming up fast, and it's time to settle down for the day. And I could use some company, even if it means potentially screwing myself over by crashing twice in the same place so soon. A shred of clarity returns to my mind eventually. I find myself glaring at Padraig's Haven across the street, my hands still trembling from the shitstorm of emotions I'm barely keeping under control. I know I shouldn't be here. Shouldn't be risking my ass, but right now I'm so over everything that I seriously don't give a fuck. I lift my hand and tap on the door softly. The noise is so faint, it's almost lost in the night. Suddenly the door creaks open, and there's Padraig with an armful of books. He moves quickly, letting me into the safety of his haven.
Come in, sun's about to rise.
Everything is exactly where it should be. Nothing out of place. Not even on the couch. You didn't oversell it. The couch is definitely still here.
I guess it's far too old to sprout legs and walk off.
He grins at me, a bit too confident in the quality of his joke.
I know it's not stylish, but I'm quite fond of it nonetheless.
Let's say it. It's charmingly dilapidated.
Would you rather use the bed tonight? It wouldn't be any...
I throw my hand up and immediately cut him off. No, that's okay. Just making sure we don't find ourselves in the infamous only one bed situation. The drag tilts his head, an unspoken question hanging in the air. I mean, you're into all that bookish stuff, I thought. Never mind, it's nothing, believe me. He nods and goes back to whatever he was sorting on his shelves. I take that as my cue to slip away into the corner of the couch. I'm too tired to speak, which is rare for me. I shut my eyes briefly, fingers tapping relentlessly on my legs. It's a futile effort to calm the lingering irritation. My movements only seem to stir it up more.
Care to share what's in your mind? Your thoughts are so loud, practically blending my voices.
No rest for the wicked, huh? Just going through my list of excuses for tomorrow night, because, I'd like to keep my head where it is.
Or think of anything in particular?
I know you're wary about me even bringing up Veritra, but I'm fucking desperate here. And I'm ready to throw out any fake-ass Sabat bullshit they'll cling to her even the slightest bit. Padraig fiddles with his ring when I drop Veritra's name. I think about backing down, but he begins to speak.
Mention Vitra's a dangerous move. You know how contentious she is to the council. I strongly advise against it.
Yeah, fuck my own life. A relentless barrage of curses runs through my mind, clouding my judgment with a flood of raw emotion. Fear. The background noise of shifting books and fluttering pages stops, and the couch sinks with the added weight right next to me.
The council does have a stellar track record lately when it comes to making rational decisions. However, the web of your sire's connections is extensive, which absolves you of direct involvement. The council has no reason to put you down.
His tone is soothing, yet decisive.
What happens is not your fault, Kali. I stand by you tomorrow. That's a promise.
I must look like a hot mess, because Padraig's expression is one of concern. His brow creased, lips parted, eyes searching mine. He pauses, assessing the moment before carefully invading my personal space. A flicker of total surprise crosses my face before I can mask it. His hand moves behind me, and I hear a soft click as he clasps something in his hand.
I almost forgot. You make better use of them.
Confused, I look down to see what he's handed me. Batteries? For my trusty old Walkman that's been a paperweight for the last 3 nights? It's such a nice gesture, but instead of joy, there's this sad twist in my gut. It feels pointless, like all of it. Right now, picking a tune feels as grim as choosing my last meal.
You sure you're alright?
Nope, I'm a mess. Yeah, everything's fine. Thanks, I guess. I'm not really in the mood for music right now. But I really appreciate the thought. I manage a shaky smile, my voice quivering a bit. He nods, totally gets that I need some space and gives me room to breathe. I flop down on the couch, totally wiped. I shove 2 batteries into the Walkman and the rest into my belt bag. Then my hand brushes against the wooden stake. Its gritty texture, just another shitty reminder of the end I've been dodging night after night. I grip it as if I could scrub away the mix of anger, desperation, and fear brewing like a storm in my chest. I've handled storms before, but this one, it's dark, man, really dark, creeping into every freaking shadowy corner of my brain and just sticking there. I grip the stake even harder as the all too familiar darkness slowly descends upon my mind.
I'll go first.
When you talk about cleansing New York from the so-called rot underneath, Mr. Fletcher, is this a part of your elaborate campaign to position yourself in the incoming mayoral election?
Frank.
It's not about political ambition. It's about addressing issues that have been neglected for far too long. New York is facing challenges that can't be solved by traditional governance alone. I'm talking about, deep, systemic problems that require unconventional approaches.
Unconventional? Like claiming you have, quote, enough manpower to clean up the entire city? What exactly does that entail? Because to our viewers, it sounds just like a threat of vigilante justice.
Oh, what I mean by manpower is having the right team with the right skills and dedication. It's not about taking the law into our own hands. It's about supporting the city in ways the current infrastructure can't.
What are these deep systemic problems you're so eager to fight? Be rather vague, Mr. Fletcher.
Let's just say there are threats to this city that aren't as visible or as easily quantified as crime rates or economic data. They're far more insidious. And while I can't divulge the specifics, I assure you that you won't have to wait long to see the results of our initiative.
Mr. Fletcher, with all due respect, it all sounds like the plot of a science fiction novel. How do you expect the public to take you seriously when you speak in riddles?
I understand the skepticism. I am a stalwart believer in transparency, and in due time, everything will be made clear. Right now, it's about laying the groundwork for a safer, stronger New York.
Let's be frank. Narrative is stirring more confusion and concern than confidence. You're really suggesting there's a hidden danger so severe that it requires a controversial character like you to step in and save the day?
It's not about me playing the hero, no. It's simply about tackling issues that have been overlooked for longer than...
I'm sorry, Mr. Fletcher, but we're out of time. Thank you for joining us here today.
But,
It's just in, folks. The Times Square Ball's new color for this New Year's Eve will be announced very soon, and I'm sure many of you have been waiting for...
December 2024, 3 nights till New Year. Usually, the first thing that hits me when I blink awake is this boundless black void staring at me the same way I stare into its perfect nothingness. It disappears in a beat, and all I'm left with is this nagging thought that I missed something important. I never wake up groggy. I'm wired as soon as the sun dips, like I've been faking sleep all day. Not this night, though. Tonight, exhaustion floods in, overwhelming me like a tsunami. I feel buried alive, suffocated under the weight of the murky water. I can't spend another day in Padraig's Haven. Staying here 2 nights of the same week is really pushing it. Not that I'm counting on having the chance to, given what's in my schedule. Strangely, I'm kind of getting used to this pad. It's no Ritz, but it's got this vibe of safety that I'm low-key desperate for. Padraig's up already, and I hate to admit it, but having him around isn't as awful as I initially thought. He's just there, lost in the gritty view of the Bronx, playing with his ring like he always does when something's bugging him. I take a quick look past him at the murky, starless sky. Then a memory crashes in, uninvited. It wasn't long after my embrace, like about a year ago. We had this wild gig out in Nevada, nothing to get sentimental about, but we were road tripping in 2 RVs, me and Reynard in the lead, the rest of our gang tailing us. Completely out of nowhere, Reynard grabs the wheel and veers us straight into the desert, leaving the others far behind. We come to a stop in no time, and Reynard's already bouncing out and scaling the RV to get to the roof. And I'm like, what the actual hell? He just pulls me up there with him. And wow. Just wow. This This absolute darkness with a sky so thick with stars it could make anyone feel dizzy, I swear to God. I could have kept on loving that life, drifting from state to state with my gang, my family. But everything's gone to hell because of Reynard. So why do I have to be the one paying for his shit? Why can't I even bring myself to hate him? I pound my fist into the couch. Dust swirls from the cushions, floating eerily into the dim candlelight.
Let's go. They're probably waiting for us already.
What's the rush? Not like your head that's at stake here.
True, but I promise I'll stay by your side. Remember?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just worn out and freaking out. The silence fills the room with all that is unspoken. Then his voice, soft and almost imperceptible, cuts through the veil.
Listen.
Here comes the pity party. If you're gonna start with that...
Cully, calm down and hear me out. Just this once. Without interrupting.
Shift in tone. It's enough to make me zip my lip, which says a lot.
Look, I can't promise you a rosy outcome. No pep talk either. You're too clever for that. What I can promise is that I'll be there for you. Do my best to convince the consul to let you go.
I just nod, kind of dazed. His words, so raw and sincere, anchor me to this moment more than ever, providing a strange sort of comfort.
So, are you ready?
I was born ready. Embraced, anyway. We head to the perfectly serviceable car in silence. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna miss this old clunker and Padraig's bizarre attachment to it. I shut the door behind me and slump into the seat, too anxious to fill the silence with my usual ramblings. Catching up with my favorite council at Elysium tonight. I'm scared shitless, but there's nothing to be done about it. I just gotta march right into the lion's den. I just hope Padraig stands by me like he said he would. We drive mostly in silence, which suits me just fine. Guess there's not much left unsaid at this point, and really, not much I want to talk about either. Padraig pulls up a few blocks shy of the Elysium and parks in an alleyway shadowed by half-finished apartment buildings. It looks truly desolate. Why are we stopping here? The art hole's a couple blocks down.
A little walk might do us good. Clear the cobwebs a little. What do you say?
I just nod. Not like walking's gonna change a damn thing, but maybe it'll help me steel my nerves for whatever's waiting at the end of the trek. The walk is quiet, just the crunch of snow underfoot and the looming skeletons of buildings around us. Their empty window frames like open mouths howling at the sky, at the city. They remind me of dead trees, all hollow and eerie as shit. Feels like I'm a character in some cheesy horror movie who gets a particularly shitty kind of afterlife. The irony isn't lost on me. Deep in my gloomy thoughts, I almost miss the sound of heated voices from one of the sites. Who the fuck does construction at this hour? Padraig's face grows even more serious than normal, and he's stonier, and they're gonna canonize him as the patron saint of grumpiness.
Shh. This way.
He tugs me kind of forcefully next to a fence and motions for me to take a closer look at the source of the noise. He's fidgeting with his ring again, which is never a good sign. Peeking out, I see three probably mortals in beat-up clothes, chatting animatedly like they're plotting something. Great, a whole bunch of thieves or just idiots betting who can haul off a T-bar. Big deal. Let's keep moving. Hanging around here isn't exactly helping me.
I'm not sure they're just thieves, Kelly.
As he says that, I catch a glimpse of a handgun peeking out from one of the guys' belts. My eyes narrow, searching out more details. They're tense, ready to snap. And one dude, he's wearing what damn well looks like a Kevlar vest under his jacket. They could be undercover, maybe DEA on a stakeout.
conduct their defense either.
You think
Hunters. Probably a scouting party.
this close to Elysium? Fuck. We spy on them when the scratchy sound of a radio cuts the silence short. I can't hear the words, but they immediately dash into the building, their steps echoing up the stairs. I look over at Padraic, his fingers busy twirling his ring like it's got answers. Who knows, maybe it does. But so do I. Let's go after them.
I'm not sure.
Oh please, you've already made up your mind. Your face screams conundrum loud and clear.
Right. I have a bad feeling about this. We should uncover what they're up to.
I nod and head toward the building, my every move cautious and calculated. Padraic follows, silent as the grave. We zip up 10, 12, 15 floors in a blink, tailing the hunters, melding into the shadows as we go. The higher we climb, the louder the wind howls, whistling through the unfinished windows. Soon we come to a vast open area that's still under construction and swiftly crouch behind a half-finished wall. The 3 hunters we followed are joined by a few others, one clutching a radio and posing like he's the boss. I take a quick look around to get a lay of the land and... Holy shit!
Quiet.
Scattered among the wires and building tools, there's a brightly lit table, piled with maps and a battered laptop playing a stream of text. Commands, perhaps. There's military equipment everywhere. Assault rifles, Kevlar vests, night vision goggles, and, notably, a massive sniper rifle on a bipod pointed at the street below. I lower my voice to a whisper. We need to get the hell out of here now. If this is SAD, there are more of them.
They're not the feds, I'm telling you. They're well equipped, but all the screens paramilitary to me.
What's our play? He rises slowly, tense as a predator, ready to pounce.
Stay low. Only take a moment.
In a flash, Padraic darts towards the nearest hunter. A gruesome crunch echoes as he smashes the man's head. The rest snap out of their daze, moving sluggishly as if in slow motion, but Padraic is already whispering something under his breath. I catch maybe half of the words escaping his mouth, all of them mundane, direct, normal, but every single one of them makes me want to dunk my head underwater to escape their soft, incessant onslaught. I do the next best thing and just cover my ears, thinking about the best steps to be taken. I let the crisp, wintry air wrap around me, enveloping my body head to toe, making the hunter's glances slide off me like I'm Miss Cellophane. Once I'm fully hidden, I scan the room quickly to size up the situation. Padraic flings the bloodied body of one of the hunters through the air, knocking 2 of his companions down. Scores 3 with 1 throw. Impressive. That's 4 down, but where's the last one? The room falls silent, the threat seemingly under control for the moment. Padraic is on an adrenaline rush and barely notices his surroundings. I dart across the room and spot the final hunter crouched behind a pillar, taser at the ready, poised to strike. I sneak up silently, and just as she jumps out to attack, I knock her arm upwards, directing the taser towards her face. The needles fire with a sharp click, burrowing under her own skin, the electricity sending her into convulsions. She collapses, losing her grip on the weapon. I press my boot onto her neck and hold just in case. Padraic comes over, still pumped from the fight, as I step out from the shadows.
I told you to stay back.
Oh, screw that. I'm not just sitting back while you hog all the action. He smirks slightly, but there's little joy on his face. The flicker of the laptop screen on the table catches our attention. But that's not the real prize. It's the pile of documents spread across the table, blueprints and maps aggressively annotated with a Sharpie. A closer look reveals a very detailed layout of Arthole and its immediate surroundings. Padraic and I lean over the table, exchanging wary glances. Damn, they've mapped out everything. They know the Arthole inside out, down to the last screw.
Seems like I've been at this for weeks.
Suddenly, through a gap in the wall, I spot some movement on the roof of the building next door. I might have overlooked if not for the flashlight beam slicing through the darkness. I sprang into action and grabbed the sniper rifle propped by the window. Sweeping the gun from side to side, I peered through the scope, surveying the entire neighborhood.
What do you see?
Hunters. Loads of them, all over the fucking shop. Several other surveillance squads are spread out around us, all focusing on Elysium, forming a tight net. Effectively sealing off the art hole's perimeter. Jesus, it's completely surrounded. Every damn corner is swarming with hunters. I jerk away from the scope, which clatters against the rough windowsill. What the hell do we do now?
We must alert the console immediately. This is...
Just then the crackle of a walkie-talkie cuts through the tension. I snatch it up, straining to hear the faint voices through the static.
Oskar.
All units, take your positions. Lightbringer, confirm. Confirm your spot. Move on your signal. It's harvest time, brothers and sisters. Drive out the darkness. Over. All hands on deck. Let's teach these fucking leeches a lesson. Over.
I glance at Padraig, but he's frozen in place, completely shell-shocked. Don't just stand there, damn it! Move! We bolt from the building. It takes a good minute of high-speed sprint before I realize that I'm still clutching the walkie-talkie. But a single hunter along the way. It's like Lady Luck smiling on us, or maybe it's Padraig's voices who were leading us unscathed across all the patrols. We reach the entrance of Elysium in no time. I'm fixated on the door, noticing the red thermal light is off, a good sign that there's no immediate danger. Suddenly, I'm shoved aside. I land hard on my ass, just in time to see one of Valerie's thugs blocking the door.
Panda, go for it.
The hell you think you're doing? You enter on my say-so.
Padraig reaches down to help me up, but I'm already on my feet, driven by pure, unbridled rage. Get the fuck out of my way! I try to push past him, but he's like a brick wall, stubborn, immovable fucking object.
What's your fucking problem? You go in when I...
Before he can finish, a fist with glittering rings lands squarely on his face, smashing him back against the wall. I shoot Padraig a look. He's fuming. Perfect. We exchange a glance and charge into the art hole, my caretaker hot on my heels. Her entrance stops the incessant debating dead in its tracks. Jaws hit the floor, eyes widen, but the only thing I really notice is the murderous look the sheriff throws our way. I nearly trip over my own feet, but somehow regain my balance and end up on my knees. A quick glance tells me the room hasn't changed much since my last visit, except for the notable absence of the Anarch Baron.
What on earth is this intrusion? You cannot possibly...
This is hardly an appropriate entrance for one whose fate is so precarious, Ravnos.
All they need to do is listen. Just fucking listen. The hunt...
Right, you're back. Cristina.
What's that name?
Aisling.
Oh dear, shall we just skip the trial? She's obviously covering final death here.
Everyone, just shut the hell up for 1 second. They obviously have a reason.
Esteemed console, please. You must listen to...
I feel a harsh grip on my arm, wrenching it back painfully. Can't they just shut up for one...
You both are gonna regret this.
What are your plans for dealing with this, Sheriff?
in my domain. Unacceptable! Valerie, seize them!
Enough.
His voice slices through the chaos, commanding instant silence. Padraig seizes the moment to push Valerie's thug off me, none too gently. The sheriff lets the moment linger, soaking it up until the last whisper dies down. Then he holds it a bit longer before breaking it like a vow.
You've let your raven fly, Connor.
His words carry the weight of impending doom, heavy with promised violence.
You better have a good reason for this disruption. Exceptionally good.
Were we storming here if... Sheriff, it's...
The hunters! There's a swarm of them armed to the teeth. They're advancing on Elysium. We saw them! My shouts bounce off the walls, and suddenly everyone's too stunned to speak. The silence drags on. And on.
Should this prove to be yet another one of your schemes, Raven, I swear!
This is preposterous. There's simply no conceivable way that...
You're all completely out of your fucking mind. Just listen to her.
Their ears are closed, sealed shut. They're too fucking obstinate, too damn set in their old tired ways. It's nothing but endless prattle with them, the constant yapping of those drunk on their own authority. Blind, so deliberately blind to the actual dangers lurking beyond. We're screwed, every last one of us.
Lightbringer. BFB is ready for launch. Countdown imminent. Over. The man name this fucking thing or what?
Padraig gives me a look, laying the walkie-talkie in my hand. Of course. I straighten up and slam the walkie-talkie down on their oversized, ludicrously grand table. The quarreling stops. They're all ears now, listening to the hunter comms.
This is Lightbringer. We're green for launch. Initiating countdown. 10, 9...
Holy shit, they're actually going to... The sheriff twitches as if breaking out of the suspended animation. Understanding blooms on his face like blood on broken skin.
Evacuate the premises, now! Everyone, go, go!
Just like that, it finally clicks for them. But it's already too late.
6, 5...
I bolt, no idea where to, just following the mob in some desperate hope that...
3, 2...
The last image seared into my memory is Padraig's face. Just before...
1.
Desert rave. Flames licking the sky like a cosmic joke. I dance up the fire could burn away the fringes of my expanding self. But ash is just the ghost of fire. Those moments are so distant now. A festival of fire and freedom. But what does a kindred seek in the flames? Redemption? Destruction or reckoning? Reality, dark as the blood I crave yet shun. It tastes like metal, like rust. Clack, clack, clack. Like fire, like hunger, like survival. That game we all play, but flies, flips, fleeting. Here, now, surrounded by the fire of my own disconnection, pixels of dark, oh so very dark web. Every bite a story of deception, every link a chain to another false promise. The digital haze, impenetrable, but even codes have their breakpoints. As do I.
Cully.
His voice. Serpent slick, Sugar-coated daggers wrapped in velvet. The maker of my illusions, the puppeteer, dangling me on a string of silken lies, but aren't we all mirrors of our own deceits? Reflecting back the lies we've so carefully curated, a firestorm of half-truths and whole falsehoods. So what are we, if not the secrets we keep?
Cully!
I am here. I am still here. What?
Run!
I remember. I remember now. Oh shit. Bedryk's urgent pull on my arm jolts me from my trance. He's hauling me away from the remains of what once stood as the jewel in the crown of New York's Camarilla. Elysium is now just a husk, its grandeur swallowed by ferocious flames that smothered the desperate screams of those who fled the havoc. Thick smoke spirals into the night sky, fiercely tearing at the air around it. I could stand here for hours, watching the whole place turn to ash.
Cully, step out of it!
Clack, clack, clack. The sudden, close sound of gunfire serves as a brutal wake-up call. Yeah. We launch into a mad sprint. Bedryk is slightly ahead, gripping my hand way too tightly. He looks mostly unscathed, just a few scratches here and there. A stinging pain in my cheek finally registers. I run my fingers over it and I find a deep gash, but aside from that, I seem to be okay too. We pass by Arturo, who is half carrying a barely conscious Prince Panhard. He shoots us a hateful glare before sprinting off. The sharp rattle of an assault rifle echoes just behind them. A few bullets whiz by, damn near grazing my ear. We're about to duck around the next corner when our luck runs out. A hunter, barely a few feet away, levels his rifle at us.
Frank.
Goddamn abominations!
I recognize him. He's the sole survivor from that mob that went after the serpents. Sansari gave him a fucking grenade in decisive order to set it off at his headquarters. A miracle he didn't blow himself to hell. He hesitates, lowering his gun slightly.
I know y'all. You goddamn leeches. I remember you.
Bedryk crouches, fangs bared, poised to strike at any moment. I mirror his stance, ready to spring.
What you did to me, you witch! You had me craving, searching for your kind, begging.
He snaps the rifle up, now aiming right between my eyes, following my movements closely.
But I held back. I resisted. You don't own me.
My brain's in overdrive, seething, every fiber of my being just itching to see his blood. Not even to drink it, but to shred and tear and make him watch his own heart thump one last time in my hand. You left a snot trail on your way here, you gross fuck. He spits, then tightens his grip on his weapon as if it'll save him.
Y'all are nothing but sick, twisted monsters. We're gonna scrub the world clean of your filth.
His words turn into a choked gurgle as a curved blade cleaves him in two, slicing from neck to guts as smoothly as cutting through butter. His weapon falls to the ground with a metallic clang. One side of his body flops over first, then the rest of the hunter hits the snow, blood spewing out like a macabre fountain. And at last, we see his executioner. Kadir. I lift my eyes. His blood-streaked face is horrifying. Anger etched deep, his bared fangs elongated. He looks right through me as if I'm just another body to slash through, tear apart, or crush like a spoiled apple. Bedryk notices it too because he steps right in front of me.
We are not your enemies, Sheriff.
Kadir cocks his head as if he cannot grasp the meaning behind the words. There's a primal edge to him, an untamed frenzy that seems to feed on something dark and ravenous. And those eyes, those scary, empty eyes. They belong to the beast. Gunfire snaps us all back to reality. Without uttering a word, Kadir leaps into an alley like a feral cat, ready to mangle anything that dares to stand in his way. The moment stretches into what feels like forever. Then Bedryk taps on my shoulder and nods towards Julia as she steps out of the art hole's crumbling facade with Aisling slung over her shoulder. She hands the limp body to Valerie, who appears right behind her. Valerie hurries past us and slips into an alley. Julia, with one arm dangling uselessly, walks up to us.
Are you idiots just going to stand there?
No, obviously not.
North exit's blocked and those assholes are pushing in from the Bronx. Conroy, do you know what our safe spot in Greenpoint?
I don't think so, no.
We only hear the thundering boom a moment after the ground between us explodes in a shower of debris. Frantically, we scan our surroundings for the shooter to no avail.
Fuck. Need to split up. 2, make for Williamsburg. Someone will pick you up there. Move it! Ow!
She vanishes into the shadows, leaving only the fading sound of her footsteps. Another loud explosion rumbles and a gunshot cracks as we attempt to sneak away from our hiding spot. That's when I spot the shooter, betrayed by a stray glint from their scope, perched on a rooftop down the street, prepping their next shot. But it never comes. Instead, a dog appears out of thin air and lunges at the sniper. Its jaws clamp onto their neck, throwing them off balance. They stumble and fall off the roof. And just as suddenly, the dog is gone. Holy fuck, did you see that?
I did. It would have been a gangrel. Though, let's think about that later.
Without wasting any more time, we duck into the dark alleys. Anything to get away from this madness. The relentless echo of gunfire fades, now replaced by the distant, mournful wail of police sirens. As we move, my instincts kick in hard, prompting me to sweep the rooftops, windows, and alleyways for threats. There's no immediate danger, actually. The streets are eerily deserted, as if anyone could sense the looming peril. But the air is still thick with tension.
We should get moving.
Yeah. We run in silence, Padraic and I, our movements synchronized as though we'd rehearsed this escape countless times. We're supposed to be the predators of the night. Now here we are, the prey, driven by the fear of being hunted. Echoes of agonizing screams still haunt my ears. I can't tell if they're real or just figments of my imagination. As we sprint through a seemingly safe alley, the faint smell of burning gasoline hits my nose. The smell intensifies when we round the corner, mingling with the fading glow of fire in a trash can. Then I trip, sprawling face first into the slush. I push myself up and see that my hands are coated in a mix of melted snow, dirt, and blood. I look up, eyes adjusting to the dim light. The alley is strewn with bodies, hunters, judging by their gear. It's deathly quiet. Shit. It's like a grinder ran through them. Who?
I do not know, but we need to find another way. Something's not right here.
That's when I hear a strained grunt, then an ominous whoosh through the air. I glance up just in time to see a Molotov cocktail flying straight at us from a window above. Padraic, focused on the carnage around us, doesn't see it coming. Oh fuck! Time crawls to a stop. I crouch and launch myself with all my strength at Padraic. Now looking up, his eyes widen in alarm, hoping to shove him out of harm's way. Despite my smaller frame, I slam into him hard enough to knock him over like a ragdoll. We both skid into a wall several yards away, narrowly escaping the flames that are now devouring the alley and the dead hunters. The pungent aroma of charred flesh strikes my nostrils, permeating the alleyway within seconds. I'm gasping, trying to regain my composure. Padraic is already up and looking for the bastard who nearly turned us into ashes. Then a sharp, anguished cry pierces the air, followed by a crash of breaking glass. The hunter tumbles out of the window and hits the ground with the broken bones. He's followed by a dark, bloodied figure that lands elegantly beside him. Oh, of course. Valerie grabs the hunter by the throat, hoisting him up before biting deeply into his neck. She drinks ravenously, her victim's body spasming under her grip until it finally goes limp, the last twitches fading into stillness.
Valerie?
She doesn't answer, still on a high from feeding. Without a word, she spins around and disappears into the nearby building. Moments later, she emerges, carrying an unconscious Aisling. Only now do I see just how bad Aisling's injuries are. She's lost the lower half of both legs, her left arm has been ripped off, and her neck is savagely torn up. She's covered in vast, ugly burns. Up close. Horrifying.
You're a natural-born distraction, little raven.
Yeah, chaos always seems to find me. I sneak a peek at Padraix. He can't take his eyes off Aisling's wrecked body like it's digging up some traumatic memory. Valerie notices it too.
She won't be making up from torpor anytime soon, I'm afraid.
What happened? Is this their doing?
He waves his hand around the alleyway, gesturing at the obliterated remains of the hunters.
No, she happens to be at the center of the explosion, alongside Addison. It's a miracle she was instantly shredded.
In pain?
Valerie shrugs.
There's nothing left for him, though we hardly had time for a thorough search.
Without another word, Valerie starts to walk away.
We're heading to Williamsburg.
Valerie stops briefly and looks back at us through her unkempt mop of red hair.
Excellent.
Then she sprints off, her figure silhouetted against the flickering flames as she vanishes into the darkness. Padraig shoots me a weary glance. I just nod, too wired to chat.
Come on, we have a lot of ground to cover.
After a half-hour march, we take a break near an abandoned dump amid rubble and crumbling walls. I slump against a chain fence, mustering what little energy I have when I catch Padraig giving me a vacant stare. What's up? Got something on my face?
I was sharp thinking earlier. Quick on your feet.
His compliment earns him a half smirk from me. Yeah. Try walking a mile in my boots, you'd stop second-guessing shit real fast. He chuckles, and I join in. We're laughing like lunatics, the adrenaline making even this lame joke hilarious. I guess we both need a break from the endless doom. But the break is all too short. A scream from the direction of the dump shatters the calm. I recognize the voice instantly, and Padraig's grimace tells me he does too. Julia! We rush down to the dump, eyes peeled for threats, and only slow down once Julia's voice becomes clear. She's swearing furiously at someone, her voice tinged with pain. Standing over Julia is a strange figure, an older man straight out of a tackier era. Snug jeans, leather jacket, and a ridiculous mustache. Oddly, he's also wearing a priest's collar and holding a double-barreled shotgun. For some reason, just the sight of him sends a shiver down my spine, making me want to flee. Julia is sprawled out on the ground, a combat knife pinning her limp arm, while the hunter's shotgun presses brutally against her throat. Despite her exhaustion, she clumsily reaches for a cigarette with her free hand. Her voice is gritty but quivers as she speaks.
Help me out. I've earned one last drag at least.
Oskar, go for it.
You know those things will kill you.
Hilarious. They teach you that in the seminary to just come naturally.
His movements are slow, calculated, almost serene as he lights Julia a cigarette for her. Something's not right about this guy. We should...
Yes, but let's bide our time. The right moment will come.
The hunter's presence is ridiculously oppressive. I can't even move, my limbs frozen with fear. I catch Padraig's eye, and he looks rattled, too, as he fiddles nervously with his ring.
Should I run through a comedy routine with a sense of reality?
No need. You're beyond redemption. There's no sin where there's no soul.
Oh, Father, I am sinful in more ways than you can imagine.
Father, I left the clergy a long time ago. Now, I follow a different calling. One that is truly deep in my faith. Far beyond what the Holy Sacrament could achieve.
Oh, isn't that a fucking relief?
Julia draws deeply on her cigarette, stalling for time. The hunter watches, irritation flickering across his face before he suddenly flicks the cigarette out of her hand.
I pity you, creature. Like so many others I've dealt with, there's nothing that can be cleansed with holy fire. And I have just the remedy.
He opens up the shotgun and pulls a peculiar orange shell from his pocket. The letters DB marked clearly on its surface.
Consider this an act of mercy.
Save me the fucking lecture and just get on with it, will you?
The hunter stands, methodically ejects the old shells from his weapon, and prepares to load the orange one. I want to leap up, to shout, to stop him, but I can't. I'm paralyzed, rooted to the spot in terror. But Padraig suddenly stands, his voice cutting through the tension.
You won't do it. I forbid you.
The hunter stops as if struck by lightning, shotgun only half loaded, his wild eyes locking with Padraig's determined gaze.
Leave her. Now.
His voice booms, echoing with a thunderous authority that even I feel compelled to obey. The hunter steps back from Julia slowly, as if controlled by some unseen force. Did Padraig's command actually work? Then, in one fluid motion, the hunter draws a six-shooter. The crack of gunfire shatters the eerie silence. I watch in agonizing slow motion as Padraig collapses. I'm unable to reach out and stop the inevitable. Time holds its breath, trapping me in the surreal nightmare where the only truth is the pain of seeing my friend fall. Everything fades to a blur except for that piercing ache. And rage, a raw, incandescent fury that defies all odds. I don't know. Anyone have any recommendations?
I think it should be an animal.
An
If-
animal?
If I may, animalism is your current lowest stat. I think you would benefit from an upgrade just to bring you more even.
Okay.
Like me. Good to hear.
Animal.
Yeah.
No.
Wait. Animal.
Other
Why
way,
won't it let
other
me?
way.
Why won't it let me? Oh no. It will not let me do the animal.
Where's everything? Where's everything?
I'm trying.
Oh no, you've
No,
been
it
locked
won't let her
out.
You've been soft locked.
Help.
Well,
You can only choose between presence and obfuscation. I'm sorry.
oh no.
Wait, why? Why does it do that?
Because you picked
Okay.
those.
Oh, is that what it is?
It's a nerfing
Okay.
thing.
I see.
I heard that they added this into the game, but I thought it was just a rumor. I can't believe they added soft locking for the skill tree.
I
Soft
cannot
locking
be
is
animal.
actually the worst. That is poor game design, in my
I
opinion.
guess I'm going animal here.
For Callie's build, obfuscate will help you more with stealth, which seems to be the approach you've been taking a lot.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
It's still dumb that they soft locked you out of animalism.
That's so dumb.
We're never gonna see Carrie Werewolf.
No, the werewolves are a different race. She'd be a gangrel. That's different.
You will not be friends with the animals. You are not
Oh,
friends
no,
with the
not all
animals.
of
The
you.
animals have not chosen you.
They have not. I'm not a Disney princess yet.
Give it time.
Maybe in your next life.
So, just to clarify, Hunter shot himself because of what you willed him to imagine.
I shrug nonchalantly, adjusting my hold on Julia. She's limping between us, supported by our shoulders, clearly still suffering from her ordeal with that maniac.
Oh, cut the bullshit. Honesty is not a good look on you.
I don't fucking know, okay? It just happened. I just stared at that guy and really hoped he'd fuck himself up. It's not completely true and they know it. That priest was so full of conviction, this blind, all-encompassing faith, that it was almost more than we could handle. But when Pedrai got shot, something I didn't know was within me suddenly awoke from its slumber. The urges pulling at my consciousness were intense and vivid, the visions twisted and dark. I can't remember the details now, but I know that by the end I could feel like I could taste the sanity of that maniac slipping away. That's what Julia witnessed and Pedrai missed. The hunter was battling his own demons, shouting madly at things he could only see, to the point where he could gouge out his own eyes to escape his visions. And when that didn't work, he placed his chin against the barrel of his shotgun and pulled the trigger, his head erupting in a blaze of fire and shrapnel. Those had to be phosphorus shells. The way what was left of him burned with bright, terrifying flames. But they don't need to learn the behind the scenes of it all.
Kali does twice to save us tonight. I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah, whatever. Don't sweat it.
Look at you two and your domestic bliss. Disgusting. Move it, we're nearly there.
We accompanied Julia all the way to Williamsburg without any further trouble. But as we reach the safe house, instead of relief, a new kind of unease raises the hair on my neck. Like I've just made a grave mistake. It is 11:33. Do we want to keep going?
I don't know about you guys, but I have to get going. I have work tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
We could just stop here. This is a good place to stop.